He was the big that every big, including myself, wanted to be.
If you have Mike Fisher on your team, you're going to win a lot of hockey games. And
Keith's greatest strength was the fact that he made all the other players around him better.
When I think of women who have really been pioneers, I think of Teresa Phillips.
And if you ever intercepted one, he had a great chance to go the other way.
And that's when all of us in WWE realized that Jerry would always be king of Memphis.
Tim's destructiveness started very early on, even as a freshman.
He's a better person than he is a putter, and you can't find a better putter in the world.
But in her short time, she reached legendary status.
But to be able to create something that has had such a great impact on this region, on this state.
Decided he was going to make it back, and he did.
They had nobody that could guard Zach.
In an easy word, Les Robinson is a winner.
Welcome to the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame Class of 2023 Induction Special, presented by our great friends at the Tennessee Lottery. With Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame Executive Director Brad Willis, I'm Mike Keith, and we are so excited to talk to you about this year's group of inductees and honorees on what will be a fabulous, fabulous weekend in July when we all get together. We're going to introduce you today, but Brad Willis, you have a big job to do because last year's induction dinner was bigger than ever before, literally.
Literally. We had nearly 36 inductees over a 3-year period. 2020, 2021, and 2022. It was a great evening, our first since the pandemic, where we were able to get everybody under one roof and just celebrate what these people have meant to sports in the state of Tennessee. And the class of 2023, a star-studded group that's going to put together an event for us that's going to be just as great.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And if you've never been to one of these dinners, you should come, because the star power at the dinner is amazing. Not just the inductees and the honorees, but the past inductees and honorees and the friends of the inductees. It is a who's who of sports in Tennessee. When is this year's dinner, and where will it be taking place?
July 22nd at the Omni Nashville downtown. It's the same weekend we held it last year. It was a big success. Fell in a great time for athletics and everybody's schedules. So we're excited to be on the same weekend. You can find out information about it at our website, which is tshf.net.
tshf.net. You can see all of the inductees and get all of the news. I'm so excited with the first inductee that we're starting with on this program because I'm a huge fan. I love to go see the Memphis Grizzlies play. I really loved it too when Zach Randolph was putting the grit and grind together and making the Grizzlies what they are today. He's a great way to start.
Hey, he don't bluff.
He does not bluff. We're talking about Zebo. Meet him now. Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame inductee 2023.
Zach Randolph, or Zebo, wasn't born in Tennessee. But in 2009, the somewhat wandering NBA star became the face of the Memphis Grizzlies.
Super competitive. He's never going to fold. He's never going to bend. He come in with the force.
Zebo, 2010, that's who he is. 20 points, 10 rebounds. He could roll out in a pair of slippers and get that on any team in the NBA.
Zach was in LA with the Clippers, and I knew that they had to let Zach go.
And then he found his home in Memphis, Tennessee.
When he came here, re-energized the city, re-energized his franchise, and frankly put him on the map and helped him to leave a huge legacy here.
Making a huge splash in 2011 by upsetting the #1 seed San Antonio Spurs in the first round of the playoffs.
From where I was, I just saw a different look in his eyes, a different look in his teammates' eyes. They were going to do something.
They had nobody that could guard Zach.
When Zebo get the cooking and he get the jab and left, it's just something about the shoulder when he...
Zach's favorite line was, "I don't bluff."
And I'll tell you, he did not bluff. He was a guy, if he said it, he was going to do it.
He like a hometown hero. Like, you would really think he was born and raised in Memphis. Like, that's the type of support that he get from our city.
He didn't take things for granted, and he cared. He truly cared about the people in this city and the fan base.
I'm going to be in Memphis. I'm going to be in Memphis forever. He'll come back do stuff in the community because I'm part of this community. These people love me around here just like I love them.
We'd like to welcome Zach Randolph into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2023.
Still love seeing Zebo. You got to present him, tell him he was in.
We did. We went to FedEx Forum and gave him the news. It was a great evening and really excited to give him that news that evening.
You love doing that, don't you?
I do. It's when I started this job, the one thing I wanted to do was make a big deal out of every induction that we could. And so the Memphis Grizzlies were a great partner that night, worked it out. He's sitting courtside as the Grizzlies are playing against the Golden State Warriors, and we let him in on the secret right there at the end of the first quarter.
You did the same thing with the majority of the inductees in this class. Another one that touched my heart was Steve Smith at MTSU.
Steve Smith's an excellent example of someone who's continuing to give back to MTSU athletics. Played baseball there, went on to be a co-founding member of the Nashville Sounds organization. And if you're in the equestrian world, Steve Smith's a champion rider and horse breeder for Tennessee walking horses. He's literally done it all.
He has done it all. When you look at the resume, you're blown away. And you understand why Steve Smith is part of the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame's induction class of 2023.
In 1976, Steve B. Smith was a pitcher for the MTSU Blue Raiders. But he was in a car crash, and he was told he might never walk again.
He decided he was going to make it back, and he did. And I think he, after being a tractor for 9 months, ran 5 miles a day for a year.
And helped lead the Blue Raiders to a win over Murray State in their final conference game.
That, I think, is where he gets a lot of his philosophy of life from.
But that is just one of his accomplishments.
Community, and it's MTSU, and it's the Chef's Club, it's his coaching kids, it's the walking horses, it's his mentoring. He loves America, he loves the freedoms, and he loves the opportunities. And he acts on it by giving and supporting individuals and causes.
His equestrian accomplishments are unmatched.
Has a long history in the walking horse industry. With regards to our show here at the celebration, Steve is himself won 10 world championships. He was the amateur world grand champion.
Smith's accomplishments in sports are clearly no easy feat, but his accomplishments helping the community are unmatched as well.
I studied the heart for 20 years every day, and no one I know has more heart, that is more generous and more giving than the man we honor, Steve Smith.
We'd like to welcome Stephen B. Smith into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2023.
One of the things that I love to do in walking through the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame is just to soak in all the history. You can learn a lot of things. And our next inductee for 2023 is a name that some people know well and others might not know. Certainly in Bristol, Carl R. Moore is a name that's well known.
Absolutely. A prominent state representative and senator and a co-founder of Bristol Motor Speedway and Dragway. He laid the foundation for a lot of what auto racing would go on to become in the state of Tennessee.
And a guy that really did so many different things outside of sports, but sports is the part of it that he got the most attention for, and rightfully so.
And that's why we're excited that Carl R. Moore is a posthumous induction into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame class of 2023.
In 1961, Carl Moore helped put Bristol, Tennessee on the map.
Carl goes back to the beginning. I mean, he's a visionary. He and Larry and the others that were involved with creating this facility that who knew that it would grow into what it is today.
In 1965, he also contributed to the creation of the Bristol Dragway, a racing spot that continues to host events to this day.
And they basically had a dream. They went to a race in Charlotte, North Carolina, thought that it looked like a good business opportunity, and in 1960, and had the audacity to just call up Bill France, the president of NASCAR, and say, hey, we want to build a racetrack and we want a date on your schedule.
But this Tennessee racing trailblazer didn't just work at the track. He served in both the Tennessee House of Representatives and as the majority leader of the Tennessee State Senate.
He was a Democrat in a heavily Republican area, but you would never know it. He was respected across the lines. Folks knew that Carl probably had a different political perspective than many in this area, but he had such a way of building relationships and building respect with individuals.
He loved his family, and he loved his wife, Elliot, who helped bring him joy and a greater quality of life to so many others in their community.
A tremendous individual and a great representative of Northeast Tennessee and in this region.
But to be able to create something that has set such a great impact on this region, on this state, and nationally, was really a brainchild of Larry and Carl.
We'd like to welcome Carl Moore to the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2023.
The Tennessee Lottery is our sponsor for this Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame Class of 2023 induction special. They are also the sponsors of our Tennessean of the Year award. So thank you again to the Tennessee Lottery for their great support. And I think as you look at the Tennessean of the Year for this year's induction ceremony, it only makes sense that it has to do with the biggest sports story of last year, which was the reemergence of Tennessee football. So if you start with that and you're going to accurately look at it, you have to say University of Tennessee at Knoxville Chancellor Donde Plowman started the ball rolling. She hired Danny White as the athletic director. And of course, who did Danny White hire as the head coach? Well, he hired Josh Heupel. So all three of them will be designated our Tennesseans of the Year, presented by the Tennessee Lottery. And it really makes total sense because football is a part of life in this state, particularly where it concerns the Big Orange. We all know that. It's a big part of that university sort of essence. Anytime you're there, you see Neyland Stadium and somebody has an association, and to get it back to where they wanted it, which they did last season, it took more than one person.
I think a lot of people will tell you in universities of that size, when a football program succeeds, the university succeeds. And so the undergrad enrollment after University of Tennessee beat Alabama there on that third Saturday in October, just a small part of what the growth of Tennessee football meant to the state of Tennessee and the University of Tennessee.
And the infrastructure that Danny White put into place, and of course Josh Heupel, pretty good football coach.
Absolutely. Interesting to see where it goes from here.
Our Tennesseans of the Year, Donde Plowman, Danny White, and also Coach Josh Heupel.
Since the Tennessee Education Lottery began in 2004, many students across Tennessee have benefited from the dollars we've raised for education, to the tune of over 1.5 million scholarships and grants. To those students across the volunteer state, we say congratulations. You've earned it. The Tennessee Education Lottery, game-changing, life-changing fun.
Jump.
We need to talk. Talk trash, that is. Way too much of it is getting tossed on Tennessee roadways. It costs more than $23 million a year just to pick it all up. Learn more at NobodyTrashesTennessee.com. Brought to you by the Tennessee Department of Transportation.
We ain't scared. Give me 5 of y'all. I don't care. Give me 5. Doesn't matter which 5. I'll take 5 of them. That's got to be your mentality. That's my mentality today. There ain't backing down. Ain't no excuses. Let's go.
Your vacation is now playing in Tennessee.
Welcome back to the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame Class of 2023 Induction Special. Congratulations to our Amateur Male Team of the Year, University of Tennessee Baseball 2022. And congratulations to our Amateur Female Team of the Year, MTSU Women's Basketball 2023. Only fitting that we're coming out of awards, because when you think about individual awards, at least for amateur athletics, you think about Olympic gold medals. And when you think about Olympic gold medals, you think about the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, because we got a lot of gold medalists here. Wilma Rudolph, the TSU Tiger Bells overall, that whole group, man, oh man, have they won a bunch. Speaking of really talented Olympians, Tracy Calkins, the great swimmer from Nashville. We got basketball players, Kara Lawson and Ernie Grunfeld. They won gold medals. Well, now another Lady Vol becomes a Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer, and she's got gold medals.
That's right. Tiana Madison was part of the Lady Vol track and field team, an Olympic gold medalist in 2012 and 2016, and now she's part of the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame class of 2023.
Tiana Madison dominated track and field. Starting in high school, it was clear she would become something special.
One of Tiana's first meets when she was a freshman, it was freezing cold outside, of course, and she competed and she won all 4 events.
Madison would go on to join the Tennessee Volunteers and become one of the best track and field athletes the school had ever seen.
And when she chose UT, everybody in this area was floored because it was such an amazing D1 program.
She was fierce. Everyone knew when she walked out on that track that she was going to handle her business.
But in her short time, she reached legendary status. She helped the women's program win a national championship.
She still holds records at Tennessee for the indoor long jump and outdoor long jump.
It catapulted her into a different level. So it was, all of a sudden, she went from being this amazing high school star to this amazing professional athlete with the potential to win gold medals.
Madison went on to become one of the most successful Olympians ever to wear the big arch.
And of course, she was still enrolled in the University of Tennessee and under their direction when she became a world champion at 19 years old.
After nearly 7 years off from the sport, she came back for more.
That transition for her led to her 2012 season, where she became one of the world's best sprinters and also broke the world record in the 4x1.
It almost makes me cry because I know what she's been through as a person in her life, and I know what her heart is like, and she's an amazing champion outside of the track.
We'd like to welcome Tiana Madison into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2023.
The historic programs in our state are led by some historic coaches, undoubtedly. You just saw General Robert R. Nealon, who put Tennessee football on the map. Big John Merritt put TSU football on the map. Well, Les Robinson put ETSU basketball back on the map, a program that had history but had been down until Les Robinson came to town.
Les Robinson is basketball through and through. He went from being the leading scorer on his North Carolina State freshman team in 1961 to coming back nearly 30 years later to become their head coach. But he made some stops along the way, starting with his coaching career at Citadel.
Coach was the guy that kind of was the glue that kept everything together. He inherited a mess, and it took him a while to get it going, but he did, and the players loved him and loved playing for him, and he had great success at Citadel.
Robinson helped lead the team to a winning record, notching 132 victories along the way and winning the 1979 Southern Conference Coach of the Year award. Then he found his way to Tennessee, East Tennessee, that is.
And what a great job he did at East Tennessee State. I think he's still remembered by so many because he took teams to the NCAA, which had never happened before.
Robinson completely revitalized the ETSU program from the ground up, winning conference championships in both 1989 and 1990 and playing in the NCAA tournament both years.
Well, Coach was famous for his time at East Tennessee State, where he took multiple teams to the NCAA tournament, and then NC State was lucky enough to get him.
Les was a player's coach. I mean, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He related to players.
One of the things that Coach Robinson was so good at is communicating and teaching. He had great talent, but he knew exactly what he needed to do to put them in the right positions to win, and NC State won at a high level because he was such a great teacher and such a great communicator.
In an easy word, Les Robinson is a winner.
We'd like to welcome Les Robinson into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2023.
I recently drove by Chattanooga Howard High School, and it got me thinking about their most famous alum, number 92 with the Green Bay Packers, Reggie White. He was a great player for Howard, great player at the University of Tennessee, was at one point the NFL's all-time sack leader. Reggie White, really nothing like him that's ever come out of the state of Tennessee, but there have been a couple of defensive linemen who have been close. I'm talking about a guy that's known to his close family friends as Joe. To most of the rest of us, he's known as Big John.
That's right. Congratulations to John Henderson, a member of the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame class of 2023.
Nashville's own Pearl Cone Firebirds won back-to-back state championships in 1996 and 1997, thanks in large part to their defense and especially John Henderson. After high school, Henderson stayed in state and went on to play for the Tennessee Volunteers.
John Henderson, the Tennessee legend, okay? He was the big that every big, including myself, wanted to be.
His big thing is family. He loves his family, he loves his friends, and University of Tennessee gave him that, and also his family and friends could also come and support him. He had a great career at University of Tennessee, and every time you talk to him, he's always happy. He's always bragging about Tennessee.
He finished his career in Knoxville with 165 tackles, 20 and a half sacks, 4 forced fumbles, and 5 fumble recoveries. That set Big John up to be drafted in the first round by the Jacksonville Jaguars.
The slap.
The slap.
The slap.
The slap. The slap was funny to me. I guess it woke him up.
Oh, Joe, that ain't good enough.
What is that all about? So we made some calls to his mother and to him, and Joe, you okay? You know, they're mistreating you? And that hyped him up.
When you see him, he get this, whoa! You know, getting riled up. That ain't enough. That ain't enough. So he was trying to get activated.
I'm not sure I'd walk up and slap John Henderson without expecting something to happen back.
You gotta be a different animal to play against him on Sundays.
I talked to him, he's like, that's how I get myself prepared for the game. And it was hard for me to visualize that, knowing the person that I know that's so nice. I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry, I don't want to hurt you. How can I help you? But he gets slapped. I mean, it's unique.
We'd like to welcome John Henderson into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame class of 2023.
Congratulations to Big John Henderson, or Joe Henderson if you're close with it. Either way, he's in the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame class of 2023. I did his state championship game when he played for Pearl Cone, if you can believe that.
Wow.
Yeah, we became aware of that guy when he was 13 years old. He was that big. Incredible story. Speaking of amateur athletes, let's take a look now at our honorees for Male and Female Amateur Athlete of the Year, presented by the TSSAA.
Amateur Male Athlete of the Year, presented by the TSSAA. Hendon Hooker, the University of Tennessee. Amateur Female Athlete of the Year, Maya Jones, University of Memphis Soccer.
Whatever walk in life students take, the Tennessee Lottery is proud to play our part by providing more than $6.5 billion to education. And that's just the start. The Tennessee Lottery. Game-changing, life-changing fun.
Close. Give it a jump.
It's summertime. More people are using our roads, woods, and water, which can lead to lots of trash. But you can help. Pick up litter when you see it. Keep a trash bag in your car. Use reusable bottles and bags. Let's work together to keep Tennessee beautiful and make sure nobody trashes Tennessee.
Professional Athlete of the Year, presented by Tennessee Athletics. Hani Mukhtar, Nashville SC. Mukhtar was the 2022 MLS MVP and Golden Boot winner.
Welcome back inside the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, which is within Bridgestone Arena. You're joining us for our Class of 2023 induction special, presented by the Tennessee Lottery. Good look at Javon Kearse, who was an inductee into last year's class of the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame. He has a lot of claims to fame, but the real one that jumps out is he was the first actual Titan. That's right. He was selected 16th overall in April 1999, the Titans' first ever number one pick and obviously first overall draft pick. So who was the second number one draft pick for the Titans? Well, he's going into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame this year. And of course, I'm talking about Keith Bullock.
Ball is loose at the 37. It's been picked up by Bullock. He breaks the tackle. Number 53, Keith Bullock.
Hide from it. Some people are built for this.
Hailing from New York City, Keith Bullock went on to play for the Syracuse Orange as a safety and as a linebacker.
Keith's greatest strength was the fact that he made all the other players around him better.
All we do is make plays, baby. We in it to win it.
Little did this New Yorker know that he would be drafted by a team far away and in a state that he would eventually call his forever home, Tennessee.
I just always liked the fact that he wore Timbers in the weight room. Like, that was different.
When Bullock was drafted by the Tennessee Titans, he added to what was a historic roster with players like Eddie George, Steve McNair, and Javon Kearse. They would go on some of the best runs the franchise had ever seen.
Bull was a true leader. He was like the defensive version of Steve.
As the years passed, Bullock would become one of the top leaders on the team, always keeping his mind on the game.
But the player we kept and we chose to build around was Keith Bullock.
Keith Bullock loved the game of football, but he also understood and he loved the preparation of the game of football.
Mr. Monday Night.
Mr. Monday Night.
You know, he's got the Mr. Monday Night moniker because he had 3 interceptions in New Orleans on Monday night, but those 3 interceptions didn't come by happenstance. We had worked all week
to come up with the play that changed the game.
Bullock's time with the Titans was just the start of setting his roots in Tennessee.
And chose to stay here and open a coffee shop business. He's made Nashville, Tennessee his home, and we should all be very, very proud of that.
We'd like to welcome Keith Bullock into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2023.
All right, every year on these TV specials, the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame Induction Class 2023 special presented by the Tennessee Lottery, every year I go through the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame and gather all the great nicknames because every induction class has fabulous nicknames. Mr. Monday Night, Keith Bullock, for example. Last year I referenced the Wizard, Tony White. This year we have a golfer that has what was, I thought, one of the coolest nicknames I heard anywhere. I'm talking about Lauren Roberts, the boss of the Moss. Indeed.
The boss of the Moss. Lauren Roberts turned pro in 1975 and was able to gain his PGA Tour card by 1980. In 1994, he took off, getting the first of his 8 PGA Tour wins by 1 stroke over major champions like Fuzzy Zoeller, Vijay Singh, and Nick Price. Since then, Roberts has been a staple of the golf community.
Boss of the Moss.
Boss of the Moss. Boss of the Moss.
He's a better person than he is a putter, and you can't find a better putter in the world.
Well, Lauren's always, been known as a great putter. He got the nickname Boss of the Moss, and he is an exceptional putter, so I think everybody knows that. What people don't realize, he was a very good ball striker. I think he was a very underrated ball striker. Sometimes he says, he's not that good of a ball striker, but in my opinion, he really was. Very good iron player. Could just be deadly with his irons, in my opinion. One of the reasons he won so many golf tournaments.
He is super, uber competitive. He is a grinder, and he never, ever gives up. He is dogged. He's relentless, the way he approaches the game of golf. And so he just keeps on going and going and going and just pushing and pushing and pushing. And that kind of tenacity is what leads to success.
But the boss of the Moss isn't the only thing that Roberts is known for. Lauren hosts the Lauren Roberts Celebrity Pro-Am in Collierville each year, benefiting the LaBonniere Children's Medical Center of Memphis.
Yeah, Lauren has always shown great character on and off the golf course.
He was the kindest person I had probably ever met, most caring person, like you'd known him for years. He wanted to know all about you, and that's the way he's been with the game.
We'd like to welcome the boss of the Moss, Lauren Roberts, into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2023.
Congratulations to Germantown's Lauren Roberts. Let's stay in the 901 right now. We got a bunch of good people from the 901 this year, including a guy who was one of the best pass rushers of his generation. I'm talking about Tim Harris. Whether he was a Memphis Tiger or an NFL standout, this is a guy who made quarterbacks nervous.
Tim Harris was a beast.
From Alabama to Memphis his senior year, and he played 1 year. His name became famous really fast around the high school.
Tim's decision to come to Memphis State made it a little bit easier for him because he had an aunt and an uncle and a cousin here in Memphis.
Playing on one of the best defenses in the country.
Tim's destructiveness started very early on, even as a freshman.
Tim seemed to never, ever, ever get exhausted. He played with the level and a motor that was constant.
His junior year, he finished with 120 tackles, including 4 sacks, and 17 tackles for loss.
Him being so long at 6'7", long arms, he would reach over and just make the tackles.
Upon leaving Memphis, he held records for tackles for loss in a game, season, and career. But his football journey didn't stop there. After being drafted by the Green Bay Packers, Harris led them in sacks in each of his 5 seasons. He was known for his intense play and his infamous celebration.
The 6-shooter celebration was like this, and then after a while, when the commissioner told him he couldn't do it, he would go underneath his arm or he would kind of go between his legs or try to hide and do the six shooters.
The whole time he's playing, he's talking noise the whole time to the opponents.
Hey, Dalton, we got y'all holding. Hey, hey!
And literally, it'd be times in the huddle after literally tell Tim, shut up so I can call the play.
Harris reached the ultimate NFL goal in 1994 when he helped the San Francisco 49ers win Super Bowl 29 in Miami.
And one thing we always say, we lived in South Hall, and after every statement, we just close it out by saying South Hall. So as far as we're concerned, when he won that Super Bowl, South Hall itself won a Super Bowl. Appreciate it, Tim.
We'd like to welcome Tim Harris into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2023. Professional Team of the Year, the Memphis Grizzlies.
Since the Tennessee Education Lottery began in 2004, many students across Tennessee have benefited from the dollars we've raised for education, to the tune of over 1.5 million scholarships and grants. To those students across the volunteer state, we say congratulations. You've earned it. The Tennessee Education Lottery, game-changing, life-changing fun.
Jump.
Standing at Thompson Bowling Arena. What a roar from this crowd, and they've been in this game all night long.
We need to talk. Talk trash, that is. Way too much of it is getting tossed on Tennessee roadways. It costs more than $23 million a year just to pick it all up. Learn more at NobodyTrashesTennessee.com. Brought to you by the Tennessee Department of Transportation.
Vacation is now playing in Tennessee.
Welcome back to the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame Class of 2023 Induction Special with Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame Executive Director Brad Willis. I'm Mike Keith, and we are so enjoying bringing you this special as we talk about this class of inductees and honorees. Let's talk about the honoree this year for the Pat Summitt Lifetime Achievement Award. It's presented by Curb Records. He is a man who is synonymous with Memphis, Tennessee. Anywhere he goes, you know Jerry the King Lawler is from Memphis. What a career and what a figure that he presents all the time.
Absolutely. We're very excited that Jerry the King Lawler is our Pat Summitt Lifetime Achievement Award winner for 2023, thanks to our friends at Curb Records.
Jerry Lawler made his mark on Memphis, Tennessee. The pride of his hometown would end up going by a fitting nickname, the King.
In 1998, we had a live event at the Pyramid in Memphis. That night, it was all the stars, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker, everybody. But the person who got the biggest reaction of the night was still Jerry the King Lawler. And that's when all of us in WWE realized that Jerry would always be King of Memphis.
Lawler would wrestle and win not only championship after championship, but also the hearts of fans as both a hero and a villain.
He could be a good guy, the best guy you ever want to see, or he could be a terrible heel, a bad guy. He could change just like that if he needed to.
You can't talk about Tennessee wrestling or Memphis without bringing up the King.
Jerry's storyline with Andy Kaufman, it really redefined professional wrestling. And I think that was one of the things that took our sport from the smoke-filled halls to stadiums.
He was laying there in the ring selling it. Lawler called the referee over, tell him it's time to go home. And Andy said, I want an ambulance. The referee goes back over to Lawler and says he wants an ambulance. And Jerry says, he ain't getting an ambulance. The ambulance is going to cost us $400. And Andy said, tell him I'll pay for the ambulance. So Jerry said, hell, if he's going to pay for the ambulance, call an ambulance.
Man, he is a star all around the world.
He is indeed the king of wrestling.
We'd like to honor Jerry the King Lawler with the 2023 Pat Summitt Lifetime Achievement Award presented by Curb Records.
In case you don't know, the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame is within Bridgestone Arena. Who else calls Bridgestone Arena home? The Nashville Predators.
That's right.
And what a run they've had over their quarter-century plus here. As we think about faces of the franchise during that period of time, I mean, there are a lot of people that you could name, but one really jumps out, and that's Mike Fisher, one of just a handful of captains, part of the 2017 Stanley Cup Finals team, and a guy who's done so much in the community.
Absolutely. A guy who's led in the locker room, was looked up to, who really was a leader. And as you mentioned, a leader outside the locker room, too, through a lot of his philanthropic actions.
This was not a tough one. Congratulations to Mike Fisher, part of the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame class of 2023.
Mike Fisher played for nearly 10 years with the Ottawa Senators, making a name for himself as a phenomenal hockey player. He found his forever home with the Nashville Predators in 2011.
He came in seamlessly on our team. He played a specific role. He could match up against the best players of the other team all the time. He was a guy that could play in the playoffs with those hard minutes, those hard games. Mike Fisher was a player that you could win with.
The Predators gained one of the best captains they've ever had.
So I would switch our lines, at a moment's notice, so he would end up against the best, and he never complained about having to go against the best night in and night out, and I think that's what drove him. If you have Mike Fisher on your team, you're going to win a lot of hockey games, and he's what you would call a true pro and a true winner, because he competed all the time.
I say to people a lot, he's better at everything than anything you're good at. Because he's always in, and whether that's on the ice, how he trained, how he competed, how he picked up his teammates, how he led the team, to the same exact thing he does off the ice in every single interaction he has with people, charities, an opportunity to give back. He truly is a special, special person.
There's a couple of things about Mike that become evident if you're with him for very long, and one is his courage,
and also his ability to be humble. When he first came here to Nashville, he didn't come as captain, so he is very comfortable following others, but in short order, he became captain. And the thing about Mike is he's got a way of elevating everyone.
Mike was both a leader on the ice, but what I truly appreciated was his leadership off the ice. And when he is passionate about a cause, he has this magnetism to him that makes everyone want to jump on board and support his initiative.
We'd like to welcome Mike Fisher into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2023.
When you think about great high school football venues in the state of Tennessee, one place that you have to visit, if you're doing a top 10 or top 15, would be Blankenship Field in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. That's the home of a lot of great teams, including the 1958 national champions. That 1958 national champion Oak Ridge football team is being honored by the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame as the David Williams Significant Historical Achievement Award winner for this year. The Wildcats won the 56 and 57 state championships, but in 1958 they took it even further, being named as national champions. 7 players signed SEC grant in aids, including the great Jackie Pope, 2018 Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame inductee, and a do-it-all player. Well, this state's not seen a lot better than Jackie Pope. 65 years later, he still ranks as one of the best ever, and that team certainly does as well. Congratulations to the 1958 Oak Ridge Wildcat National Championship team, winners of the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame's David Williams Significant Historical Achievement Award.
Whatever walk in life students take, the Tennessee Lottery is proud to play our part by providing more than $6.5 billion to education. And that's just the start. The Tennessee Lottery. Game-changing, life-changing fun.
Close. Give it a jump.
It's summertime. More people are using our roads, woods, and water, which can lead to lots of trash. But you can help. Pick up litter when you see it. Keep a trash bag in your car. Use reusable bottles and bags. Let's work together to keep Tennessee beautiful and make sure nobody trashes Tennessee.
see how to follow it on social media. The Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame and Brad Willis are everywhere. And that's one of the great things is this place is so accessible.
It is, and you can come visit us Tuesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's a great opportunity when you're visiting Nashville to come pay us a visit and learn about the history of sports in the state of Tennessee.
And how that history intersects so many other important topics in our state's history. It is a big deal, and encourage classes to come here. School classes are a big deal.
Absolutely. We host field trips on a regular basis, and anytime we get the chance to do that, it helps us teach the history, but also what sports can mean to your life.
And especially for females.
Absolutely.
That is one of the most important things that you learn at the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame. Our history among female athletes, richer than any state in the union, I would say. And one of those goes in this year who will add to that tradition. I'm talking about Teresa Lawrence Phillips. She's an amazing story. She's got the Chattanooga ties, and then what she's done in Middle Tennessee, amazing.
Teresa Lawrence Phillips, a trailblazer in every sense of the word, and we're thrilled that she's part of this class.
And also an outstanding person. Congratulations to Teresa Lawrence Phillips, a member of the induction class of the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame 2023.
Teresa Lawrence Phillips started her athletic journey in Chattanooga, playing basketball, volleyball, and swimming at girls' preparatory school. She went on to play at Vanderbilt as the very first African-American female student athlete. While there, she won the Lady Commodore Athlete of the Year award as she continued to play 3 sports through college. After graduating, she quickly started her coaching career.
When I think of women who have really been pioneers, I think of Teresa Phillips. I think of her being a player, coaching a number of teams. She is that pioneer for women's sports in the state of Tennessee.
And she totally understood the game of basketball. She stressed that you must have discipline in order to play for her. Excellent recruiter, had great coaches. She realized that the stronger her coaching staff was, the better she would be.
Phillips became the head coach at Fisk University, where the Bulldogs won 2 WIAC championships, and she won WIAC Coach of the Year twice. And then Tennessee State University recruited her, and the rest is history.
She was able to do the things that would allow them to reach their potential, but the other part that I think made the success as a head coach was just the intensity. We had to do everything, whether it's coaches, the managers, definitely the players. We had to do it at a certain level. That is why we had the success that we had, but also to know in those moments when she needed to be a little softer, she could be that.
We'd like to welcome Teresa Lawrence Phillips into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2023.
Our final inductee is one of the greatest defensive players in University of Tennessee football history. Now, that's well over 100 years. That's a lot of fantastic players. That's a lot of people in here, a lot of names that you know. But it cannot be argued that Eric Berry is one of the greatest defensive players in Tennessee history. He set records and did things for the Vols that have never been done before. He was a great player for the Kansas City Chiefs, and he was also awesome off the field.
You're absolutely right. In the heart of his career, he had to step away from football due to his health. And in coming back, he showed the world what an incredible individual Eric Berry was.
Nixon stands up there, fires the pass. That's intercepted. Eric Berry to the 40, to the 30. Eric Berry's going all the way to the 10. Touchdown, Tennessee.
Okay, this is the difference between a 2-star guy, 3-star, 4-star, and like him being a 5-star prospect.
He could have played anywhere, but he chose to follow in his father's footsteps and play for the Big Horn.
When the recruiting process started, there was a real honest, good feeling about I think, Tennessee and about him coming to Tennessee.
Berry also ruled the game at the University of Tennessee.
And if you ever intercepted one, he had a great chance to go the other way. He was the most amazing runner with the football after a turnover that I've seen.
We would write goals, right? And he said, a lot of players say they want to be great, but they don't put the work in to reach that level. He said, this season, I want to make a statement, not only for my position, but for all football players everywhere.
After being drafted 5th overall by the Kansas City Chiefs, Berry chose to wear number 29 to honor his friend and teammate, Inky Johnson.
him befriending Inky Johnson was huge for him.
And he said the impact that I had on him just as a man, you know, it helped him, and he wanted to return that by wearing my number in the NFL. And that meant a lot to me, man, because I couldn't play. And so every time me and my family would watch Eric play the game and just people knowing how he played the game, it was special.
His professional career took off and kept rolling until the unexpected happened. After feeling chest pain during a game, Barry was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, ending his 2014 season. Like he had so many opponents in the past, not only did Barry defeat cancer, but he made it back to the highest level of football.
And how he came back and how he viewed what he went through, right? Like how he used that to add value to the world, to people. Like, I think there's no greater chapter in his life that defines who he is as an individual than that cancer chapter.
We'd like to welcome Eric Berry into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2023.
That's a great way to end this Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame Class of 2023 induction special presented by the Tennessee Lottery. For Executive Director Brad Willis, I'm Mike Keith, and we'll see you July 22nd.